Nighty night. What's up guys, Dan here, Coalcracker. Sasquatch or Dan in the middle of the night? I don't know who you'd rather show up. I was thinking about that though, after I did that intro, and what does Sasquatch do if he catches you? Or doesn't he ever catch you? He runs the other way. I don't know that answer. If you know that answer, leave it down in the comments. That's gonna be a wild comment section. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to see what you all say about that. But the reason we're talking about middle of the night and I'm putting you to sleep is because we're talking about sleep and how to get a good night's sleep in the woods, because it is one of the most important things when it comes to overnight camping trips. If you don't get a good night's sleep, especially like multiple day trips, each day gets worse and worse and worse. So if you are a seasoned outdoor goer and you get bad night's sleep, you know about this. If you're a newbie, it can ruin your trip. It can ruin it to the point that you're like, I'm not even doing that anymore because it's horrible. I get back from camping and I need like a vacation after a vacation. So we don't want that to happen. So I want to just show you different sleep elements for you to consider: time of the year, environment, and then how you can use these things and how you can interchange them and use them together to get the best night's sleep possible. So in this video, we're not going to be talking about shelters like tarps and sheltering systems and tents. That's not what this is about. It's going to be about the actual elements, like our cover element that we cover our body with, and then the element that we're going to sleep on. So whatever the ground element is that we have along with us. So it's really just showing options, and then you can build your system to that. Now, what you need to realize when it comes to your sleep equipment, it's going to change throughout the year. There's not a one thing fits all when it comes to it. It's not like, hey, I got this blanket from Coalcracker, this is it year round. It's just not, it just doesn't work like that. Sorry. It doesn't. I mean, some stuff you can like push it to its limits and get through all year, but generally speaking, your sleeping equipment is going to vary throughout the year. That's the one element in all of your equipment that's going to be like this constant change and flow depending on what the situation is. So let's start again, we're going to just go through this stuff. There's a lot of different options here. I'm trying to cover most of the basis of things that I personally use and found that just work the best, but there's a lot of different stuff out there that you might have come up with on your own or seen elsewhere that is just as viable. So don't take this as like, this is the only thing you can use. So we're going to start with cold weather, okay? When I say cold weather, okay, here in Pennsylvania, we get temperatures down like 0, a little bit below 0, and in summer months, we will get high 90s. I mean, I could say we do hit 100 here once in a while. The problem here is we have high humidity. So 90-degree weather with hot humidity is like horrendous. It's like you're living in a jungle. So we really have a huge extreme range here. So that's why we have such a range of equipment. So let's just start with everybody's favorite, the good old sleeping bag. Look at this thing, right? Many styles, shapes, different brands, different temperature ratings. Where does the sleeping bag fit in for most people, especially in our community? So to me, the sleeping bag is a cold weather piece of gear. It just works best during that time because of the amount of insulation and warmth that it provides. So a sleeping bag is going to be standalone. You generally, in cold weather, you don't need a fire with it because they are built to different temperature ratings. So if you're going to be out, let's say here in Pennsylvania, and it is going to be 10 degrees out, you can get a sleeping bag, the 0-degree range, the -10-degree range, the 10-degree range, the 20-degree range, that's going to be able to insulate you and keep you protected from the elements and keep you warm, all right, through that entire thing. My recommendations with sleeping bags, just get a reputable brand, because any brand can make a sleeping bag, okay, overseas, and just slap on 0-degree bag, 20-degree bag, and that doesn't mean it's going to ultimately be the best. One sleeping bag company that I can highly recommend that I use quite often in very cold weather is Wiggy's. I think they make awesome sleeping bags, so you can check their stuff out. This was an Outdoor Vitals bag. I use this, and my kid uses this thing all the time in very cold weather. This works really well also. Also the old military sleep systems, the MMS sleep systems, those things, they are really good. The only problem I personally found with that, they're a little bit small for me. I'm just a big, tall guy, so I don't fit too well in those. That's why I go with some alternative stuff. But sleeping bags in cold weather work really well. I always suggest to do the mummy bag. So the mummy bag is going to be more fitted around your body versus just the old school rectangle bags. Plus you could pull that around your head, close it in, and trap more heat. So as far as sleeping bags go, that's what we got with those. I definitely think the cold weather option. Now, moving along the spectrum, okay, wool blankets. This is where everybody loses their mind, especially if they're backpacker, hiker. A wool blanket is a big, heavy, cumbersome thing to carry around the woods with you, but it's a very fun, exciting way to camp, and there's a lot of versatility. You can use a wool blanket. Wool blankets come in different sizes and weights. So it's the same as a sleeping bag. You got to decide, hey, what type of wool blanket would be best for me? So why do we use wool blankets? Well, one thing is we have that traditional sense with it, but the versatility of it's amazing. So you can wrap these things up, which I did videos in the past. You can do all different methods of closing these bags up. You can create sleeping bags with them. You can create mummy sleeping bags by wrapping and coddling yourself up with them in a burrito fashion. You can use pins, like safety pins, and you can make rectangle sleeping bags, or you can just lay the blanket over top of you, especially if you have some ground equipment like we're going to show here in a little bit. All of that stuff gives you this huge range of temperature, so it works really, really well for that. The other thing with wool blankets versus sleeping bags, if you can team these up with the campfire out front, which most of us, if you've done that, love it, right? These things are not going to get damaged by small little flying embers off the campfire. They'll hit and nothing happens. Ember goes out. Unlike those expensive sleeping bags, embers burn those things up something fierce. So having a campfire out front, you have to try to protect that gear a little bit more. So that's another option here with wool, why it works really, really well. Now, as far as wool go, you see I have two different blankets here. This is a queen size single blanket, and then this is an extra, I call it extra large king. If I remember off the top of my head, I think these are 110 by 110. We make these in-house, meaning we do source the wool, but then we construct them. So this is 4 layers of wool. The thing is massive, it's heavy. It is so warm though, it will rival almost any sleeping bag. I tell people all the time with wool blankets, be adventurous. Like the first time you go out, you might not get it. That's just part of it, right? It's like there's a skill set to using this stuff, unlike just crawling in a sleeping bag. But at the end of the day, I think most of us are going out for the enjoyment and excitement of like adventure anyway. So give that a shot if you never really tried them. A lighter weight wool blanket, like something like this blanket. So queen size, single wool. You can use that in the summertime if you're a colder person. Like when my wife comes out camping with us, she takes a blanket like this. This is her go-to in the warmer weather because she's cold all the time. So when the temperature drops in the forest, especially when it's 90 during the day and it drops down to the 70s at night, that 20-degree shift is a big one, and it gets damp in the woods. People get cold. So these things, they can be used pretty much year-round. But if you're a hot-blooded person like myself, like I am just always warm, you might want to go with something even more lightweight. So cotton sheets work really well. Now, a bed sheet, yes, it will work. You're not going to get much warmth at all from that. So what I like to do is we use like a heavy cotton canvas. This is our sleep cover, but you can just get cotton canvas yourself. We have grommets and stuff put on this so you can hang it out and air it out. But these things are lightweight enough that you still have some covering element, okay, which I love. Even though I'm hot, I like to be able to cover myself. I just sleep better overall. And it still gives me a barrier if the bugs get really bad. So even if it's warm out and I throw this over me, I'm not going to overheat to the point I would with something like this or a sleeping bag, and it's going to protect me from the bugs because I don't really like to put or have to carry a lot of long sleeve stuff and sleep in it in the summer. So this works really well for that. So the lighter weight cotton canvas sheets or just cotton sheets, they work really, really well also. Another option which I don't have here that I know my instructors use quite often are liners for sleeping bags. So they sell liners that go inside sleeping bags. The purpose of the liner from the companies that produce them is generally that it gives you a way to wash the bag, because otherwise a sleeping bag, to wash them and clean them is a little bit of a hassle. So you put this liner in, and then if you're in there and you're sweaty and you're just messy, you take the liner out when you get home and you wash it. Those liners you can sleep in by themselves, and they are very comfortable and they work really well. So if you like to be more closed in and not be as open, a sleeping bag liner might be your choice. Now listen, you can team all this stuff up, you can work different methods together. One other thing, okay, I'm gonna show you ours, but they make these in synthetic materials too. So this is called a top cover quilt, okay? So a quilt, as you know, is just a big open blanket, and it has baffles in it, much like a sleeping bag, and it is filled with different materials, be it down or synthetic materials, to give it that insulative rating, okay? These things, what's cool with these is if you think about a mummy bag, like sleeping bag, okay? You have your zipper, it might be center zip or side zip on that bag itself. With a quilt, it's the same style setup, but no hood, and there's no back to it. I know you're thinking that's weird, but here's the thing. If you team this up with what we're gonna show you next, some of the ground sleeping equipment, it works really well, because when you compress this material anyway, any kind of fill in a sleeping bag or a quilt like this, you're taking away the insulative value. It's not able to trap heat. So how these quilts work overall is there's snaps on one side and snaps on the other side, and they snap together. And what this is going to form, I'll just do it quick here, every other snap. Snap this together, and then you pull the drawstring at the bottom, and it forms a foot box. So now we have this foot box we can slide our feet in. So if you ever slept with a wool blanket or a cotton sleep cover, you know, you're moving around a lot at night, feet pop out, especially in cooler weather, not good. So this allows you to stick your feet down in here, and it's trapped inside, and then you come towards the top. We also have a snap towards the top if you want to close that, and you could pull it. Now the back side of this is open. Okay, so that's going to be a top cover element, and you're going to need something underneath you. But these things, these are like bed quilts, they feel like. Super warm, super comfortable. We make these in-house also. A lot of different companies make top quilts. Just type in top quilt online and check out different ones. We are releasing a new lighter weight one coming up in multicam and orange. It is slick, so keep an eye out for that one. But these quilts, they are fabulous pieces of gear, and they do actually, for the size of them, they pack down pretty good. So some top sleeping elements. Now, before we get to the bottom sleeping elements, let's talk pillows, because that is something that can make your night that much better. So there's inflatable pillows, and then there are just small travel pillows. They both work really, really well. Inflatable, you got to get used to sleeping on them, because they crunch and they make noise, and sometimes they lose a little bit of air. So they're good, they're not the best. I would opt for this. The problem is now you're just carrying more stuff. So if you already have your bag loaded up and you don't want to carry more, this is just more to carry. So I'm going to give you an option for that. You're going to get yourself some type of nice, comfortable cotton bag. So this is just one of our flower bags. And then what I do to go to bed is I just stuff this with one of my extra pieces of clothing or socks or underwear. Don't use stinky socks and underwear so you're not smelling it all night. You can either tie this shut with a piece of rope or just let it open like it's not really falling out here. And of course it's a little bit smaller than a travel pillow, but look at this thing, works perfect. Dan can sleep now a little bit more comfortably, and then I'm not really taking anything extra. I just have my shirt, and this bag itself I can either keep stuff in or I fold it up and stick it in with my sleep equipment, and I'm good to go. So pillows, good option. Now last but not least, what are we going to sleep on top of? So most of us know here at Coalcracker on this channel, we like to sleep on leaves. But listen, in the summertime, leaves are terrible because there's all these bugs and there's all kind of nonsense, and they're usually damp from the dew in the mornings. It doesn't work really well. And then the flip side to it is like the dead of the winter, if there's snow and ice, you can't use them again. So many times, okay, you're going to have to carry something along with you for the ground. So again, just some options and some things to think about. One thing I would always recommend is go to like your local hardware store, get some heavy duty plastic and make yourself some ground mats. Make the ground mat whatever your height is. Like I'm 6'3", so it's like 6'3" and just a little bit wider than my shoulders. I cut it down, fold it up. You see this takes up like no room. And then at least I have something to block myself from the ground. So if I don't have anything else, I could then use them leaves, even if they're wet and buggy, and throw this thing down. The only problem with this is like a quick fix. You're getting this all night. you're sliding on the plastic. So it's not the best option, but it is an option. So I think it's important, and especially if you're putting together emergency style kits and you're not gonna like overload it with this kind of stuff, this is definitely something to think about. Now, staying with very minimal things, gum blankets work really, really well too. Gum blankets were very heavily used during the Civil War as ground mats and sheltering systems. Now we really don't use them as sheltering systems all that much. What they are is a canvas material, and then they're coated with like a rubberized vinyl on the other side. The black side goes down, it's gonna help block moisture, and then we are sleeping on top of canvas. So it's a very comfortable way to sleep when you're using these. Now you can sleep directly on the ground. You don't have to pack leaves up in the summertime because the ground's warm. It's not gonna draw a lot of heat out of you. But if you decide, hey, I want more comfort, and I pack all them leaves and they're wet and buggy, this is gonna be a good stopping point from not letting that stuff come through and bother you all that much. So gum blankets, they have just been a staple here at Coalcracker for at least the last 10 years. So we absolutely love them. But what most people are gonna be using is either this or this, an inflatable pad or a foam mat. So let's talk positive, negatives of each. Foam pads. These things, they are not as packable as this, and this doesn't even look too packed. Like this is a hot mess. I don't know who folded this up. Probably Mike. That's why this is a mess like this. But these things are a little bit more pain in the butt to carry. The only positive with these is you could open these up. See how it like flattens it out? Put it in the back of your backpack. Add some stability in there, like our cabin pack or something like that. These things fit perfect inside there. Foam mats are not as comfortable as inflatable mats, but they do protect you from the ground. They do have insulative value. And the best part to these, if you have a campfire out in front of you, you can't, like, if an ember hits it and it gets a little burn mark, it doesn't matter, okay? This, on the other hand, if you blow this thing up and a small ember hits, you're waking up with no air in it. It's how it is with these. There are tons of inflatable mats, different R values, which is gonna be your protection from the ground, like your insulative rating. What I have found for the stuff that we do here is that these Climate Armor V pads work the absolute best. They're just really, really rugged, okay? And I know there's all different ones out there. They don't make, these Armored V, they don't make a lot of noise because they're a little bit heavier. It takes a little bit of effort to get them filled up with air, okay? But once they're filled up, they're comfortable. The bottom is like heavy duty rubber. But again, the downfall is embers. Like the first time I ever used this, I woke up, there was no air in it. 2 little embers. Dan learned the hard way. So I was cold the rest of the trip. I didn't have a patch kit. But an option to take care of that is when you use this, maybe cover it with a gum blanket. That will protect it. Or you can always use a sheet if you have cotton canvas. Throw this over, and this gives you your mat on the ground, and then this big sleeping area to sleep on with nice canvas, and maybe your wool blanket over that. And now you are living a good life, and you're gonna be having a good sleep. So I know lots of information there and lots of different things that we looked at, but they're generally what myself and all my instructors use. It's one of these things depending on the season and what's actually going on and how many days we're gonna be out there and how much we can pack. But listen, it's a very fluid thing. So your sleep system is gonna change all the time. So you just have to assess it, try different things, experiment, and that's part of the fun of this stuff. Like, you're not gonna have it figured out the first time, but I can at least get you a little bit closer to having it figured out. So I hope you like this video. If you do, hit like and subscribe down below. You can also check us out at Coalcracker, for all our classes, our gear, and our blog. A lot of this stuff is on the website, so you can check all that out too. I'll put some links to some of this equipment. And until the next video, sleep well and stay in the woods.